many turning points, reforms that made Indian insurance industry what it is today. And Insurance Institute of India would be interacting with executives who were privy to such action and uploading these interaction on our YouTube channel under the new initiative by us called as Milestone. As we begin this new initiative in this year, to begin with, we are fortunate to have Mr. Injeti Srinivas, Chairperson of International Financial Services Center Authority for this interaction. We popularly know this authority as IFSCA. Sir is a 1983 batch IAS officer from Odisha, Kabir. After working with Government of India in various capacity in various departments, in his last assignment, Sir was serving as a secretary in Ministry of Corporate Affairs and somebody who was personally involved in drafting of insolvency and bankruptcy code as well as Companies Act, which made a lot of difference in the way of doing business today. So thank you so much, sir, for agreeing to interact with us and welcome to this milestone series.
Thank you, Archana ji. Thank you for having me on your program.
So I will like to start with that we all know about various authorities like RBI, IRDA and SEBI in financial sector. We are keen to know what is the genesis and necessity of this creating a new authority and how it will help the existing players or in the market.
That's a very good question. I would like to take you back for a minute to the early days of economic liberalization, in the early 90s, when from a rather inward-looking economy, we became an outward-looking economy and we rapidly started globalizing. As India started rapidly globalizing, we had to procure a lot of international financial services from offshore jurisdictions. Now, this meant a lot of outflow of, scarce foreign exchange also. And a time came, that is in mid-2000, when the then government constituted a high-power expert committee, popularly known as the Percy Mystery Committee, to see whether it would be possible to procure these services from India itself. That means to bring back, this market onshore. Now, in that context, the committee, which was a well-represented committee, having players from the financial sector and experts in finance, made basically 3 recommendations. They said now it's time for India to open up in the financial sector. So one, we need to make it much more simple and we need a unified regulator. So today, we have different regulators for banking, for the capital markets, for pension, for insurance. So they recommended that we should have one unified regulator so that there are no coordination problems between the different regulators. Second, they said that it's high time that we go to full capital account convertibility. And they, at that point in time, suggested a time frame of 24 months. They said within 2 years, we should become fully convertible. And third, they talked about ease of doing business. So these were the 3 recommendations which the Percy Mystery Committee made. At that time, we had the 2008 global financial crisis. So this went to the back burner. It is much later, in 2015, that the government then looked at this potential and wanted to adopt some of the recommendations, but because it would be difficult to go for full capital account convertibility for a large economy like ours with so many complexities, they adopted what is known as an enclave approach. So they looked at a zone, that is the GIFT IFSC, like an SC, it is located within the SCZ. And they said that in this zone, we'll have a unified regulator. We will have full capital account convertibility and we will have a very simplified sort of regime, which is comparable with the best jurisdictions elsewhere. So that is the genesis of the IFSC concept taking birth. In 2019 December, that means after 4 years, the government enacted the IFSCA Act, and in 2020 established this regulator. And in October 2020, it gave all the powers of the 4 domestic regulators, that is RBI, SEBI, PFRD and DAI, with respect to regulating financial institutions, products and services within the IFSC. So the Act enables the Government of India to have one or more IFSCs. Today we have one IFSC. When we look at a similar economy, like say a large economy like say China, they have 5 IFSCs. So they are a large economy, 2.5 times our size, and they sort of set up this long back, and today they have 5. So today we have one IFSC. This is the maiden IFSC, and if things go as anticipated, maybe there would be a time when you would have more than one IFSC. Now, the basic reason is that as we globalize, we will be requiring so much of global capital flows. So the idea is that we should become a leading global financial center and act as a gateway for global capital inflows into India and global capital outflows from India to rest of the world. So that is the basic purpose for which the IFSC was set up. And we have a large Indian diaspora, about 30 million, and it is estimated that they have a combined net worth of $3 trillion. So we should make best use of the non-resident Indians, that is including the OCIs and PIOs, to give a fillip to our capital needs and growth. And if you look at China, China is hugely dependent on non-resident Chinese for giving a boost to their economy. So the sum and substance is that we have all the ingredients to emerge as a large financial center. We have a large economy, very fast growing economy, a well-regulated financial sector, and a huge diaspora. All this put together, we have now created this platform, and the idea is it should act as the external engine for India's growth. We have the domestic engine, and we now want an external engine.
Thank you so much, sir. And I would just like to say that during COVID time, when world was struggling, we were busy in setting up a milestone under your leadership in the form of IFSC. And the time will tell that it is really a big milestone for India as a country. You kept on mentioning one thing, Unified Financial Authority, while discussing about IFSC. Can I request you to elaborate how the Unified Financial Authority will be different than the traditional regulator and how it will benefit the industry stakeholders?
Okay, so you see, when you have separate regulators, each regulator will confine itself to its domain, but there'll be a lot of overlap between the different markets. So the capital market and the financial market, the insurance market, the pension market, there'll be overlaps. So a lot of coordination is required between the regulators, and often because they are governed by their primary objectives and their own risk perceptions, there is this incongruence between the different sectors. And because we are not able to exploit the synergies, what really happens is that there'll be a lot of gaps. Now, by having a unified regulator, actually remove this problem of inter-regulator coordination, and what it becomes is an intra-regulatory coordination. That means the divisions within the IFSC, will have to converge and see that they, move with a common objective. So we are distinct in that way. Second, it largely contributes to ease of doing business. It also balances a lot of regulatory work we'll have in terms of supervision. You can have a company which may be straddling across two sectors. In the typical way, they would have had to have two complete registrations, two complete capital adequacies, two distinct compliance requirements. But when you have a unified regulator, there are possibilities that, say, for example, a bank which is coming under the banking regulation may also be a trading member and a clearing member in an exchange. So here they don't have to get a separate registration like that. Under the banking, we can enable them to do that capital market activity also. So having a unified regulator enables two things. One is a perfect harmonization and convergence, so that the synergies and complementarities across the financial sector are fully harnessed. Second, ease of doing business. So, and many offshore jurisdictions have unified regulators, like in Singapore you have the MAS, they are unified. In Dubai you have a unified regulator. In Abu Dhabi you have a unified regulator. So this is more of a global practice.
In fact, for a long time, the Indian insurance sector used to look at Dubai as for the ease of doing business example and other things. So it's really a great news that we have it in our own country now. Sir, it brings me to my next question, that could you enlighten our viewers about the players who are working or operational in GIFT City and coming under IFSC from banking and insurance sector specifically, because we believe that these are the two sectors which goes hand in hand.
Certainly. So, Archana ji, you see, for example, in banking sector, we are happy that there has been a very good progress. In the last 1 year or so, 6 international banks have taken license. Now that license has been given by IFSCA because we are empowered under 15 central acts, and including the RBI Act and the Banking Regulation Act. So now it is becoming truly an international financial center, because earlier we were only having the branches of domestic banks, but now you are having branches of international banks like Citibank, Standard Chartered, Barclays Bank. All these banks have come, and another 8 to 10 banks are in the pipeline at various stages. Now to explain, the banks here right now are having a combined balance sheet of close to 25 billion USD. In the last 1 year or less than 1 year, in the last 6 to 8 months, it has grown from 14 billion USD to over 25 billion. The cumulative transactions are about more than 125 billion. So what's really happening is it is getting that critical mass now. What we really look at is Indian banks have a lot of branches abroad. Most of these banks are not doing any retail banking. They are doing corporate banking only. Earlier, when we did not have an international center, they were forced to go out. Now they have a combined asset of close to 200 billion. If those assets were to migrate here, we would have crossed 200 billion and we would have surpassed Dubai Financial Center also with regard to banking assets. So that is the hinterland advantage. And one by one, banks are looking at the advantage of migrating their India-centric books to the GIFT IFSC. For example, Axis Bank, which has a balance sheet close to 5 billion, has closed down many of its international branches and has consolidated its India book, international India book, largely in the GIFT IFSC. So this is with regard to banks. Apart from normal banking, we have also enabled them to do retail banking for non-residents. They can't do retail banking for you and me, but they can, who are residents, but they can do retail banking for non-resident. That means so many NRIs are there. Today it's all digital. So they can do the retail banking, so they can raise funds. They can also cater under LRS, Liberalized Remittance Scheme, cater to the requirements of the resident entities. We have opened up many new areas like, non-deliverable forwards in INR, risk sharing, trading, clearing activities, and so many other sort of banking functions we have now opened up. So now we feel that we have a fully enabled best-in-class regulatory framework for banks. This is on the banks. With regard to insurance, I think a huge development has taken place after we notified our insurance office regulations very recently. And a lot of companies have shown interest, both Indian insurance companies and FRBs, foreign insurance companies which are in India. The reason being that if you locate yourself in IFSC, your costs can come down considerably. You can cater to India's, reinsurance demand. You can also cater to the regional demand, whatever is emanating from the nearby areas. And eventually you can become a global player also. So there is a lot of benefits they get. Firstly, a lot of tax incentives are available to IFSC units. So that's one attraction. Secondly, there's enough financial talent, there's no problem. And you can easily cater to the requirements of Indian diaspora. You can have specially tailor-made sort of products for them. We have also enabled, we are soon enabling the integrated, insurance web aggregator. So, you can make use of the digital platform also. Some of the things we have done is that, in terms of solvency margin, we have said that your solvency and your whatever capital adequacy, you can maintain at the parent level. You don't have to separately maintain it at the branch level, because branch is not a legal entity. So this is one enablement we have done. A lot of people are, a lot of insurance companies are looking at that. Second, for example, whether a direct insurance company can also do reinsurance. So we have said that will depend upon the home regulator's regulations. If the home regulator permits, then you can do. So, for example, IRDA does not permit a direct, they'll only permit a direct insurance company to do facultative reinsurance and not treaty reinsurance. So we will also allow an Indian branch to do only facultative reinsurance and not treaty reinsurance. But a French company, insurance company can do both, because their regulation permits both. So like this, a lot of activity has been done. Today, we have GIC Re has relocated its Dubai operations, from Dubai to the GIFT IFSC, and the book is growing. We have a lot of insurance brokers also here. So I see a lot of potential. Recently, we have been engaging with the P&I Club also, the protections and indemnity insurance, which is very much used for the shipping industry. So that is one area where, a lot of business can be there. And because we are also trying to promote it as a hub for aircraft leasing, aircraft reinsurance, business also can be tapped here.
Thank you so much, sir. I will like to request you now the message you will wish to give to all our viewers related to scope and opportunities for insurance and reinsurance sector under IFSC. Okay,
so the message is that the IFSC is a national project. We, at the level of Government of India, is trying to push this project as a national priority, to see that we create offshore-like conditions onshore, and we emerge as one of the largest financial centers, maybe as a global financial center, by virtue of our huge economy. For a large financial center to survive, you need a huge economy. Only then it can be sustained. Dubai and Singapore, they have emerged because they started long back. They have emerged as a service provider, but they don't really have a domestic economy to back it up. But we have a domestic economy to back it up. So what I mean to say is that we have an added advantage, and therefore it would not be very wrong to say that India has to a great extent, built Singapore and Dubai's financial sector, because most of our financial needs we are taking from there. Indian companies are going away and incorporating there because they find some of our, legal requirements maybe onerous or maybe constraining. So now that, we have set up this island within India, I think we should all now look at this as a national project, and public sector and private sector should take it as their preferred location, provided they are not having any disadvantage. We are here to ensure that they don't have any disadvantage, that there is total tax neutrality. They should not lose, one penny. But provided that is satisfied, they should, do it. I'm happy that companies like our banks, also HDFC, Axis Bank, recently IRFC, all of them have reposed their faith. We expect companies also to start listing, and we expect that lot of the LRS, you see about $20 billion goes out in LRS. We expect that lot of LRS can be absorbed within India in the IFSC. So when you have foreign stocks, and very soon you will have, American stock in the form of depository receipts traded on our exchanges. So it will also give a lot of opportunities to the retail investor, the institutional investor, and the corporate sector. So we are opening up all these opportunities. You can have your treasury activities here, corporate treasury activities. You can have mutual funds set up here, which can invest abroad, so that, our risk is diversified, for our investors in the domestic area. Single family offices, multi-family offices. I think all these opportunities are being built, and last but not least, some niche areas like aircraft leasing, ship leasing, and even the international bullion exchange, which will be a big game changer, and which will commence operations anytime now. We are fully ready. It has to be inaugurated. Earlier, the Honorable Prime Minister was supposed to inaugurate it when the Vibrant Gujarat was to take place, but because that has got postponed, I think this program has got slightly delayed. Anytime we expect that this to be inaugurated. Gold, we consume 25% of the world's gold. We are one of the largest consumers and one of the biggest players, but we don't influence gold price. With this exchange, we will move to the center stage of the international gold market and will influence gold price, as 25% of the consumption takes place here. It will also enhance responsible sourcing, etc. So that is my message, that we should all contribute to this national priority, and give full commitment and support to this major initiative taken by the government.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing all this important milestone in this journey with us. And I'm very sure that all our viewers would have enjoyed this interaction immensely. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.